1 down, 3 to go. Well, a little more than 1 down, but almost 3 to go. Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. A little bit out of breath here, but I just finished the kind of main elevation part of the second loop I'm doing. So I figured it'd be a good time to do a little talking, walk into the top of this hill, and I'm out here running. You guys may remember not too long ago I did a video about 5 easy steps you can take to run your first 5K. Figured I'd do another running related video for you all. So this one is talking about some kind of practical tips to make things easier for you mentally when you're running and when you're challenging yourself, especially as you start kind of pushing distances that become uncomfortable to you. And it doesn't really matter what those distances are. It could be 2K, it could be 3K, it could be 30K. It doesn't really matter, the tips still apply. So basically, one thing that I find really helpful is to break things up into manageable chunks, so it doesn't feel as tiring, even though you're still doing the same distance, but just mentally it's not as exhausting. You may remember I talked about the book The Ultra Marathon Man by Dean Karnazes. There's a great story in there where he's running I think it's a 200-mile relay race, except he's not doing it as a team, he's just doing it individually, so just by himself. And I think he's down to like the last 50 miles or something, and he's getting real kind of into a low point, getting into a bit of a funk. And then he cheers himself up by reminding himself that, well, it's not so bad. He only has to run a marathon, a half marathon, a 10K, and a 5K, and that's it, he's done. So you might think that that's kind of funny, because for many people a marathon is like a big enough challenge as it, you know, just in and of itself, much less after 150 miles of running. But to him, that's a small kind of manageable chunk. And this is why I say it doesn't really matter what the distance is to you. You can make it to be as manageable as it is for yourself. So right now what I'm doing is I'm prepping for the Ultra Balaton relay race, which is happening in May, and I want to start getting up into some longer runs. So last weekend I did 3 laps of my usual 8K loop that I'm quite familiar with here in the woods, and you know, the weekend before that I did 2, and this weekend I'm gonna be shooting for 4. So that's why I told you guys at the beginning that I had 1 of them done, and the 3 to go, and I had already started that one. So I'm about halfway through the second loop right now, feeling good. And you know, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is just how to break it up mentally. So the reason I'm doing a loop instead of an out and back or some other kind of bigger loop, and I'm just going to do this one multiple times, is because I realized last weekend when I was doing the 3 loops that it was actually mentally very kind of pleasing to go on a familiar route. So this loop I've run many times. I know really well. I know where all the hills are. I know where all the easy sections are. I know where the turns in the road are. Like, everything is just very familiar. I can go on kind of autopilot, so it just relaxes my brain. And also it does the manageable chunks. I know I can run one of these loops like pretty easy. And you know, I'll be honest, by the 3rd one I was really kind of tired. It was pretty hard, but it wasn't so bad because I knew, like, oh, it's just one more loop. Like, I know I can do a loop. You know, it's kind of like a trick. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm gonna run because we got a nice little downhill section here, and then I'll check back in with you guys and let you know how I'm doing. So I'm into the 3rd loop right now, doing a bit of a walking break. Feeling okay, probably a little better than I did last week at this point, so that's a good sign. I definitely am getting some of my fitness back and feeling better on these long runs, but yeah, still quite a ways to go. So I'm roughly halfway, a little over halfway, and definitely feeling tired, but not bad yet. We'll see. So I'll check back in with you guys later. So I'm in the final fourth lap here, and I gotta say I'm hurting pretty bad, just not happy, but I think that's a good opportunity to tell you guys about another tip. Accountability is like really important when you're trying to get some kind of difficult goal done. You want to be held accountable for your progress, for your actions, and you know, I mean, in a way, me making this video is sort of like a little bit of, you know, impetus for me to do the fourth lap. I could have just stopped there after the third. Would have still been a pretty good run, but I felt kind of compelled. I didn't want to delete all my files that I had just made for you guys. It would have been a pretty lame ending if I was here to motivate you and didn't get the fourth lap done. So yeah, you know, before this, I think it was midweek, I was talking on the phone with my brother from another mother, and running coach, mentor, inspiration, all around good friend, and I told him I was coming out and doing 4 laps today, so I didn't want to disappoint him, like talking to him next week or something, and be like, hey, yeah, I did 3, didn't really finish the 4th. That would not be cool. So let's get back to walking, and I'll check in with you guys a little later. So I've been reduced to a lot of walking the last couple kilometers. The start of each loop, it's about, I don't know, roughly 2.5, almost 3 kilometers of pretty much going straight uphill. There's just like a tiny little bit of flat at the beginning, and the rest is a pretty gradual climb. So I'm just about to the top of the main elevation gain for the whole lap. After this, there's a lot of downhill. There's a couple of little uphills, but nothing as bad as the one I'm just finishing. So I don't know, just did a nice easy jog here and there where it was a little bit flatter, and did a lot of walking, trying to keep a good pace. It's part of the race strategy too. I mean, I do a lot of walking in the race too, so this is not a bad thing to practice in the long runs. That's why I do the hilly kind of trails, because there is a decent amount of elevation gain in a few parts of the race, so it's certainly good to be kind of prepared for those. But by the end, I mean, I pretty much always end up doing some walking anyway, so you know, having to kind of walk uphill and prepare the legs for that kind of exertion as well, especially when you're already tired, I think is not a bad idea. At some point I will do some more flatter running too, and try to maintain just like a more even pace. I think one thing I learned from today is that I'm still not ready for this kind of distance just yet, because I really couldn't maintain what I was doing for the first 3 laps. Pretty much been walking a lot, so just something that I need to work on, but so far so good. I'm sure I'll make it around. Getting up this hill was kind of the big, you know, part of this last lap, and then overall I feel pretty good so far. Definitely feeling the legs, but nothing painful, just really sore and tired. So I got a nice little downhill here. I'm gonna get back to running. So I made it home, getting ready to take a bath, do a little bit of relaxing. It was pretty good. Definitely good training for the race, because there's going to be some suffering there, and there was some suffering today, so that was good. I did 32.5 kilometers in 4 hours 3 minutes, so pretty good. It's about 20 miles. For how much elevation I had, I think I'm actually pretty happy with that. It was over 2,800 meters of gain and loss, so that's a lot of elevation, a lot of up and down. That's actually, I think, pretty much more than what I'll have in the whole race, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go take a bath, and I'm gonna refuel with some leftover pizza from yesterday. That came out really good, so I'll be eating that, and then just try to rehydrate and do a lot of fruits and veggies in the afternoon, and then some stretching and stuff. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, thanks, and appreciate everybody's support. lots of new subscribers, and really happy to see that. So thanks everybody. See you in the next video. Bye.